we playing to the cameras here?
It's unbelievable. The two guys putting the wheel on, they were new. Fuck. Fourth and fifth, but Gene, you finished fourth and fifth here. You fucking look like rock stars.
Here are the lights. And the lights are blank. The cars are moving. We are go in Monaco. Oh, I can't do this one round.
Brilliant move. That's the best move we've seen all season. And we have rain, Josh.
Griffin here, go through the inside, also in the Red Bull of Cape Level. Becomes a champion of the world.
Oh my God!
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to VRS. Today is the final round of our Season 1. And we'll be racing in Hungary, and it looks quite overcast, so maybe a little bit of rain to come. My name is Josh 6000. Here alongside me, as always, is Cav1892. Cav, how are you getting on today?
Good, Josh. A little bit sleepier. We're obviously a couple of hours earlier than usual with the pending Coda Grand Prix that's going to come in the next couple of hours. But we have a bigger show, I'd say, than Coda about to happen. Of course, it's Ferrari v Haas and a little bit of Williams on the side if things go a certain way. So, huge night ahead, of course, and we have three team principals essentially fighting for their future.
Yeah, and you think we'd have a little bit more than 11. We should have a little bit more than 11 coming in. You know, Spider-Man, his usual self, being late, and we should have Bart the 4 in as well if he is awake and alive. But yeah, what can you expect for the last race of the season? And as you said, it's a big fight between Rando and Daniel Mullen. So, big day for their two drivers each. Of course, Bart the 4 hasn't shown up yet.
At the moment.
Joining now.
Contract dispute.
Had a small issue there, so he's obviously scrapping some fella in the garage trying to get into his car.
Okay.
So
I heard Rando wasn't paying him his wages. All the Barry's tea that was promised hadn't yet been delivered. But we are, thankfully, going to get underway, and we have a car on track in a very dark-looking Hungarian, you'd have to say.
Yeah, it is quite dark. Could this be a bit of rain to come, Cav, in the qualifying session? And that would really spice things up, because that means that that first lap that you're going to set is got to be the most important lap. Obviously, it's going to be the only lap you're going to get if it does rain. It's going to be a short qualifying session if so, but I imagine it might stay away, the rain, for now.
Yeah. It does look dark, but certainly no speckles on the track just yet. I think if it was going to rain, you'd expect to see most drivers having piled out already. So let's see what happens. Of course, we have now two Ferraris and two Haas, and then only one Williams on the grid. So slight advantage to Haas and Ferrari, but of course a healthy lead that Ryan has coming into this race as well as Williams TP. So yeah, let's see how this night develops. But with a small grid, qualifying becomes slightly less important, of course, but nevertheless, we'll want to see a good lap on the board from all drivers.
Indeed. So, Cav, we have Rory Drain just starting his lap now, so why don't you take us on a lap with him?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go with Drain and ignore Hawthorne, who clearly wanted
shit.
this spotlight, but fuck him. So, as Rory Drain down into turn 1, usually dropping down to second or third gear, you want to get the nose in, misses the apex a little bit, but still carries good speed. Obviously, DRS open for the second time, and these two corners make up realistically your best chances of an overtake. A bit like a go-kart track around here. It's all very twisty with one corner leading into the next. It's flat around this right-hander now as we get up into probably the best corner on the track. It's a drop of a gear and just a little lift usually through here, and Drainer takes it quite well. Now well into sector 2 as we go down to the very slow chicane. You want to get the nose in early, second gear usually, third for Rory, and then you can let the car run wide and take as much speed as you can through this fast left right section. Quite tricky here, and then flat all the way through 10, and now you're coming into 11, which is a tricky corner and one that's easy to one spin if you get too narrow, but also invalidate if you run too wide. Well into sector 3 now as we cross through turn 12, you want to get down to third gear, and now through 2 very slow but similar corners. 13, get the nose in at the apex and get the power down as carefully as you can. And for the final corner, again, you want to get the power down nice and early, as Hawthorne does set the pace, but we like Rory Drain better. And to the line, Rory Drain does a 16.6, so we got treated to a better lap by Rory. He did not disappoint.
Yeah, slightly better lap, and that is Kay Flemo absolutely clattering into a brake board there. So he is okay. I don't think he has any damage. Should be good to go. But yeah, Williams only having one driver, and you say they're safe, but they are only 13 points ahead of Rando. So Ryan Curran is gonna be an important one just for Kay Flemo alone, because if it's gonna be anything like last weekend, there we go. Just before we mention him, a 15.6. But yeah, Rando, I mean, if he gets the same points he did last week, he could be on for beating Ryan Curran, and same with Daniel Mullen. But yeah, let's mention him now. Our reserve today, he is debuting today, of course. Not a great day for it, we only have 12 people in, but anyway, it's the last race of the season. Leo Line, or Low Line, however way you want to pronounce his name. Very quick driver. He has the S-Class license, so only a few people have it in this league. So it's going to be a good day for him. Only 12 people, so with that lap time at 15.6, he is looking very well, with Mag Locks right behind him, only half a tenth. So Mag has been very good in qualifying so far this season, hasn't he, Kev?
Yeah, he has. He's been incredibly quick and incredibly consistent. There hasn't been many tracks where he's qualified too far down the order. Of course, those race starts have been troublesome at times, and more often than not, it's been with his teammates. So hopefully for him and Leo's sake, we'll call him Leo, even though he can't spell his own name, we'll see none of that tonight. But yeah, AlphaTauri, of course, the constructors and the TP champions. So pretty much picking up where they let off. They're not certainly easing off, even though it's the last couple of races, or last races it is, of the season. Yeah,
well, that's what it takes, Kev. He's the TP championship, or GP champion, for a reason. He's fully set up with 2 very strong drivers. He's gotten himself a reserve who's just as good as his main driver. So that's what he gets for being active, being there. And you'll see a few of these team principals who are down towards the lower end, who just haven't really been as active as Farrell.
Yeah, this is it. Activity, a huge part of it, of course, getting as many cars on the grid as you can and making sure you support your drivers whatever way you can. Certainly we're expecting 16 tonight, so with 4 drop-offs, some TPs have a lot to answer for in terms of their organisation skills. But nevertheless, it's obviously all about Ferrari and Haas and the Williams here tonight. So Flemo and Lukey both with a 16.5 early doors, and we just wait now on the likes of Carl at Bart 4, and Alex has posted a time, but certainly not representative. So we wait to see them get on in their first main runs.
Yeah, it's going to be very important for Alex and Carl, who we saw last week they weren't particularly impressive. They were quite shite, to say the least. 11 or second last and last, whatever positions they were in, for pretty much the entire race. So I know this is a strong track of Carl's. We're on board with his lap going into sector 2 right now. So let's see what kind of a lap Carl can produce. Now, as you said, qualifying isn't going to be so important this race, but you still want to be up there, because you'll see if you're starting from the back, you'll see gaps forming between maybe Grandad and LCK, and maybe Elcha Carbon and Mag. So if you want to be up in that top few, and that's an invalidation from Carl. So is the pressure starting to set in as we have Alex with a 26.9, which isn't quite competitive just yet?
Yeah, of course, and I suppose pressure on Carl might be from the perspective of trying to ensure he has a seat himself next season, but there is also the theory that he may want to see his team principal and feel a bit of loyalty there, keep his job. Also, I'm sure we've some drivers who'd like to see their team principal lose their job, so we can ask Carl at some point what category he fits into. But so far, as you said, struggling to get a time on the board is a tricky track. We should bear in mind this is actually Ferrari's home race as well. So this is the track that Daniel Mullen has picked for his drivers. He would have picked this, of course, in the pre-season. So yeah, you would have expected a stronger showing from Ferrari early doors, but Elche Carbon in the Haas in P3 looking very tasty up there at the moment.
And as Rando rubs his hands, great.
Like
I'm
set his
glad.
hands.
Hopefully it's the only thing he's rubbing. Hawthorne now going around the final corner. He has a 16.8. He hasn't spun. And it's a very decent 16 flat for Hawthorne. So that is quite a good lap. And he's picking up from where he left off in Spain. Impressive qualifying, impressive race. Unfortunately, Spider-Man did not want him on that podium. So he took matters into his own hands. But he really has shown that when he isn't down in bottles of Buckfast, he really has something in him.
Yeah, he does indeed. Spider-Man absolutely making sure last week that Hawthorne didn't get a good result. But no Spider-Man so far. Hawthorne will be the one hoping that he doesn't show up. So very, very competitive from Hawthorne the last 2 weeks now. We've seen a rejuvenated man. And of course, I believe he's come off the bookie. So that will, of course, help.
Well, indeed. We have Joey Bastille in the chat supporting Elche Carbon. Not Elite Carbon, but Elche Carbon. So we have a couple misspellings in the names. We have a low line and an Elche Carbon. Of course, it's just natural now to say Elche Carbon. Elite Carbon doesn't sound right. It's Rory drained completely off the track. And there goes low line with a 15-3. Leo really having a good qualifying so far, as Mags now crossing line slightly improves his lap time. And is staying close to Leo, so he's staying up there in top 2. Having a good qualifying so far, 5/10 ahead of Hawthorne.
Yeah, AlphaTauri seeming like they have a jump on the rest so far, quite a big gap. But once you get past then the AlphaTauris to Hawthorne, it's quite congested from there on in. Grandad Gamer a little bit away from the rest of the field, but of course, just a bit. But in fairness to Grandad, again, we consider where he was early doors this season on a track like this, which is very much a track where the driver can make a significant difference. You know, I'm sure he has more time in that lap, and we'll see him get a little bit closer. Carl going for his, this must be his third attempt at getting a lap on the board, I believe.
Yeah,
Important
Carl
here.
having an absolute nightmare. Alex, slightly more representative time than his 1 minute 30 something, whatever it was. But here comes Kay Flemo now. For Williams, their sole driver today, coming across the line. Very nice 15.9, so very competitive time from Flemo.
Yeah, Flemo looking back to himself of late, of course, has been just reserving for Williams the last few weeks, and now has a full-time seat there to finish out the season. So looking very, very good, Flemo in that Williams, and that's a very competitive lap time. Anything in the 15s, very, very strong. I have got word from the pit lane that we have Spider-Man racing down from his hotel to his car. So he is desperately trying to make it to his seat before this race starts off. So we wish him well with that, and hopefully we'll see him join the grid shortly.
And here comes Carl. It's a 16.6. Not quite there with the Hasses. With Elche Carbon, the only one who has completed a lap. Speaking of Barta 4.
Of Haas, yeah. Barta 4 sector 2 now.
He apparently has a...
Whoa!
Jesus!
And a big chunk of the wall as well.
Yeah,
Ouch.
right into the wall. And has no damage. That's a surprising one there. I don't know how he hasn't picked up anything.
Yeah, took that one like a champ.
Damage
and now
definitely
bails
as well,
out a lap.
Yeah, he does indeed. And someone who we haven't mentioned today, Cav, LCK, Mr. Saturday. He has the most pole positions, I believe.
He does. Good knowledge, how are you? I'm sure a race producer has probably dropped that one in your ear.
No, he actually hasn't, Cav. So I'd like you to just, respect that I have absolutely tons of knowledge. And,
wow.
I know everything. Anyway, Spider-Man's in. LTK is starting his lap, so why not? Let's ride on board with LTK here, as we have a Ferrari just getting out of his way. LTK now coming down. I don't like this track, Cav. Let's be honest here. This track
won't hear
is
a bad word
shite.
about it. Driving really nicely. Of course, we found out earlier he's actually driving without line tonight, so that will make it slightly trickier, particularly on a track like Hungary where you just have so many different braking points, and throw into that mix any sort of different conditions, and it'll really get complicated for him. But taking it quite well, you'd have to say.
Doing very well for himself.
Taking a
Yeah.
lovely wide line into the fast left right.
Spider-Man has joined, and now he was gone. And how he hasn't invalidated that lap, that is great skill to really just make use of the
Race
game
director,
being really
very
bad.
generous.
Yeah.
LCK, of course, 5th in the Drivers' Championship, 68 points. He'll be looking to confirm that tonight. With an outrageous result like a win, he can actually claim a position or two higher, but realistically looking at securing that P5, and of course part of the Red Bull team, who have an outside chance of catching Alpine, but certainly with only one car on the grid, it's going to be tricky.
So not quite the time you'd expect from LCK now. With the line off, that's better than any of us would have done. So it's impressive lap time without a line, but 16.8 isn't quite where you'd expect LCK, although he does, of course, not have the racing line, which is going to be very difficult to get used to.
Yeah. 4 minutes left in the session, so anyone out now will be pretty much completing their last run, unless they're on an in-lap right at this moment. So, yeah, this is, for example, with Hawthorne, who's in Sector 2, this is going to be his final effort, you'd have to think. And looking to improve as he comes up to the split, which is on the exit of this right-hander.
You
Very
have
nice, in fairness.
you have knowledge,
Driving
Josh. That's
well,
the
and he's a 10th up.
biggest lie of 2023. Daniel Mullen, I hope you get relegated, or not even relegated, sacked. I hope they both crash into a wall, and Rando beat you.
Yeah, well, as a team principal who is the lowest performer of all that have been in the league since race 1, he's a brave man to throw shade. Hawthorne does improve to a 15.9, 1,000 in nose hair ahead of Flemo.
Yeah.
So that's Hawthorne's day said and done. He'll be happy with that, I'm sure. But when we see Hawthorne actually spinning,
Of course.
something's
Sure,
never changed.
it wouldn't be Hawthorne without a nice spin. At least he's getting it out of the way nice and early. Kay
Exactly.
Flemo, of course, is on an out lap, so you'd expect he'd be able to get 1,000 out of that lap, Gav.
Rory Drain now on his way into the pit, so his day is done, as is LCK's and Lukey Dookie's. Meanwhile, we have Bartafor going for another run in Sector 1. There's a few ahead of him on track, though, including Leo, coming to the line now. And the low line.
Showing the old lads
15.1.
how it's done. Leo Lyon
Wow.
with a 15.1. Jeez, nearly into the 14s there. Mike Locks is...
Getting ready to
Yeah.
go for his final run, I would say. He has 1.2
Oh, he's invalidated his lap,
laps
so
of
he's...
fuel. So, yeah, he's going to go for one run here and see out his session. Elche, meanwhile, in Sector 3, just coming around the second last corner, turn 13. Looking quite tidy so far for Elche, but
Yeah.
I didn't see the Sector 2 split.
Let's see Elche Carbon now. Coming to the line. DRS open. Across the line with a 15.9. So we're getting into the 15s, well into the 15s here. Very nice lap from Elche Carbon. Very
Standard
close
has
as well.
been very impressive around here. We have Carl in Sector 2, just gone through the chicane, but Alex to the line first. He
Ooh.
didn't take the checkered flag, but I don't think... No, he doesn't have enough fuel to go again, so...
Oh, and Carl's invalidated in the final sector. That is killer. And it's going to be 9th and 10th at best.
Yeah.
And we have Grandad Gamer going around, so it's going to be 10th and 11th, Gav.
And Bode Haas now finishing ahead on track. So Bartafor has done his lap. I don't think we've anyone really else. Lukey has had a massive snap on his final run coming out of turn 1, so he's done. I'm not sure we're going to see anyone else. Kay Flemo is marginally up. He only needs a toenail to get ahead of Hawthorne here.
Yeah, that's right.
He just comes into the final corner now in that beautiful looking Williams.
Here he comes. And he's done it.
It's a 15.8. Very nice. Very, very nice. Elch is into the pits. Lukey is...
Yeah, he's a couple seconds down.
He won't have another one.
Bartafor.
I
And
think...
do you see what's coming down from the sky there, Cav? Bit of rain right at the end.
A bit of dribbles.
Jesus.
So either that's Spider-Man just entering the session, or that is indeed rain.
So Grandad Gamer, is he going to improve? No.
How do you improve on perfection? This is the question we ask ourselves every week when we watch Wheel to Wheel. It's tough. Tough. He's no more Mick, I tell you that.
No, not quite, not yet. He has the potential to get there, but he's not quite more Mick, no. Be nice to have more Mick in here, actually. Battle the goats between Grandad Gamer and more Mick.
Oh, could you imagine? That would be the face-off of the ages.
Exactly. Who cares about the championship if you have more Mick and Grandad Gamer in a race together?
So yeah, we're nicely set up here. Haas ahead of Ferrari, of course, in the championship by 1 point. It is also Rando's Haas ahead of Dan Mullen's Ferrari, albeit by just a sole point. Flemmo doing a good job to make Ryan Curran's day feel a little bit more secure in P3 at the moment. But of course, qualifying means nothing, except we should congratulate Lowline on his very first point in VRS, of course, for pole position. So another point goes into the pot of AlphaTauri, bringing Farrell up to 216 now.
Yeah.
He has 50 points back to Ryan Dav. Of course, Ryan Dav only had one driver all season, but he was a good one. Was a good one.
Yeah, quite a good one, to say the least. So, Leo Line with his first race and his first pole position by about 2.5 tenths to Maglock. So that's very good going, seeing as how Mags is, I'd say, one of the quickest drivers here, in terms of qualifying anyway. And let's see how this race unfolds. So, Cav, why don't you bring us down the starting grid of our race today?
Yeah, so on his debut, the car is no surprise though. The AlphaTauri of Lowline in P1 at 15.1 setting the tempo. His AlphaTauri teammate of Maglox in P2. We'll see if there's any action between them into turn 1, which there has been on occasion between the AlphaTauris this season. Flemmo is in P3 for the Williams and will make Ryan Curran feel somewhat safe, but Hawthorne right beside him, he may feel less safe in the Aston Martin. Elche Carbon in P5 for Haas. We see Lukey in 6th, Rory Drain in 7th, Bartafor then in the 2nd, Haas in 8th. Then comes the two Ferraris on the 5th row of the grid in 9th and 10th. We've LCK with his no lion. We've Grandad Gamer with all the assists. And then we have Spider-Man, who has barely managed to show up. So, yeah,
there was no need to out him like that.
Good actions.
Poor Grandad.
Actually, Grandad Gamer, I'm pretty sure, doesn't run half of the assists, but I still think him a little abuse.
So, going into the race, we'll remind everyone again, 13 points is the difference between Rando and Ryan Curran. 14 points is the difference between Daniel Mullen and Ryan Curran. And then between Rando and Daniel, 1 point separates them and a sacking. So it is going to be an important race for both of them. Right now, if Rando's drivers finished where he was, or where they were, he'd jump Ryan Curran and he'd be safe.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, then that would mean Dan Mullen gets the owl sack.
Yeah, down the scratcher queue for Dan Mullen next week, and unfortunately he'd be released by Ferrari. But hey, is there anything unusual about seeing a Ferrari team principal struggle? I don't think
or
so.
Getting sacked. No, absolutely not.
Or getting sacked. I don't think so.
So, in terms of predictions, Cav, what are you thinking?
Look, he's been very impressive and it's boring as hell, but Low Lion, if he can just keep it on track, looks like he has the pace to do the job. I think Maglox looks like, again, he's in a league of his own and will probably stroll home to a P2 with a lower number on the drip grid as well. You might see a good chance that there won't be safety cars, hopefully. And then in P3, I'm going to go for K Flemmo. Very confident around here. And I'd love to ask you yours, Josh, but we're about to start.
Yeah, here we go. 5 lights. And the lights are blank, the cars are moving, we are go in Hungary. It's a decent start from Leo. He does have Mags right behind him here, trying to get the slipstream down to turn 1. And through he goes, through the inside, a big dive from Maglox. And it looks like he's gotten the lead. Yeah, he's gotten the lead, Maglox, from Leo. And K Flemmo stays in P3. Hawthorne's dropped back just a little bit. Luke trying to get it done on Rory Drain. Around the outside Luke goes of the Alpine driver, and he gets it done. A very good move from Luke there. Goes off the track a little bit though. That is going to allow Rory Drain to come back. No, he's going to stay behind him from now.
Yep, so down the order, the two Haas's getting away clean, but the Ferraris have both lost out to LCK in the first sector, so the Red Bull man taking that car up to P9, meaning only a sole point has been scored by Ferrari at the moment. So
the two Haas's have dropped back just slightly. They're right beside each other, and I want to see how Yeah, so, oh no, Elche Carbon has lost 3 and Bartafor has gained 1. So Elche being on those hard tyres and Bartafor on the mediums, they've split their strategies, so good team play by those two. And we're seeing now, great camera view, we have Leo right on the back of Mags here. And is it going to be inevitable for Leo to pass Mags in the opening laps? And it might be right now. Mags, yeah. Both burn, the both have identical batteries nearly. Leo is just behind him, biding his time. Might he go for a little switch back here? He gets great traction out of turn 1. But Mags seems to have slightly better straight line speed than Leo. So I think Leo's going to have to either wait for DRS or wait for a mistake. So let's see.
Further down the field, the Ferraris have swapped positions. I'm not sure if that was tactical or whether that was an overtake by Carl, but Alex certainly didn't make it too hard for him. Of course, the worst could happen today is 2 teammates come together.
Yeah.
We see Elche really struggling on those hard compound tyres, though he's ran wide again as you go up to the left-hander at the top of the hill. Really finding that corner tricky so far. Turn 4, of course.
So as we see, Hawthorne has dropped back a little bit from K Flemo. He is 1.4 seconds behind, and he does have the McLaren of Luke right behind him. So it is going to be close between those two, and I think penalties are going to come into play, as I see a few people have already ran wide nearly twice in the opening few laps. So let's go on to the lead once again. Leo behind Maglox. And Maglox is doing well for himself so far, isn't he?
Yeah, he's driving very well. Looks to have the pace. I definitely think he is holding up Leo marginally, but not to the extent I would have expected. And certainly his race pace looks very solid, Maglox. Very tricky track to pass, of course. Limited opportunities unless someone makes a mistake. But this top 3, you know, with DRS enabled now this lap, and you get a double helping, of course, down the main straight and beyond. Flemo's staying with them as well, so yeah, if they trip over each other, the Williams will be there to pick up the pieces.
That's it, yeah. So Leo, yeah, pushing him through the track. You can see straight line speed is in favour of Maglox, and the cornering speed is definitely in favour of Leo here, as he's really keeping up with him through sector 2. And K Flemo still staying on the back of this, so very impressive from K Flemo, who got a full-time seat very late on into the season, which we weren't expecting. So he is doing very well for himself. Completely gapped Hawthorne by 2 and a bit seconds. So he is driving a very good race for Williams, which Williams need for today.
Yep, absolutely. They certainly do need a strong result, and Flemo at the moment has gotten that DRS, so that'll help him to close in on the top 2. But of course, Leo has been all over the back of Maglox, and this will certainly help him. He has a look down the inside, he just gets it stopped. A little bit of contact, but now with the DRS, along with the ERS Born, can he get it done? Ooh, Maglox.
Very nice car placement by Mags there.
These two, they're certainly driving with the gloves off. And there's no team orders at AlphaTauri, and why would there be? They've already won both the Constructors and the Team Principal Championship, so it's every man for himself. And of course for Maglox, he'll be looking to improve on his position in the Drivers' Championship. He's only 5 behind Jack, 6 behind Spidey, so he can bag a P2 for himself today.
Leo now very, very close to the back of Mags. So let's see how long Maglox can stay ahead of Leo, and let's see how long Maglox can keep up with Leo, as Leo seems to be much quicker, especially through the corners. So close to the back from how they haven't made major contact yet is beyond me. Very good driving by the two of them. And here we come now around the final corner. Leo will get, of course, the DRS on his teammate for today. Down the main straight, Leo is close enough for it. He's turned off his ERS and through the inside he goes, but he's not going to be passed but before the braking zone, as Mags is just going to let him go. Stays nice and close behind him, and it's another help in the DRS for Leo and up into the lead.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting now on this lap 5. Can Leo actually pull away? How much was Maglox holding him up? Because I tell you what, if Maglox can't stay with Leo, he might become vulnerable to Flemo, who's driving a superb race at the moment up in P3. Looking really solid.
Indeed.
On a tricky track. Very, very good from Flemo.
Yeah, Flemo has been driving superb. He's staying with them within a fair amount of time, and
Yeah.
you'd like to think that Maglox would be able to keep up with Leo here, but looks like he's struggling just a little bit. Leo pulling away now. He will gain that back on the straights with the straight line speed and the DRS. But let's see how this unfolds now. So we're coming into, of course, the final sector, the final couple corners, with Mag still behind his teammate within DRS range.
Yeah, so the train remains intact for now, but quite a big game from Leo across that lap. He might drop him next time around, but let's see what Maglox can actually close in on the straight. He is burning a little bit, just to try to keep that gap down. Of course, the top three have checked out compared to the rest of the field. Rory Drain still trying to get the move done on Hawthorne, but nothing happening just yet.
So Rory, after his overtake on Luke, is looking at getting a move done on Hawthorne, who seems to be struggling compared to K Flemo, who he was faster than last week.
Yeah, and LCK has gone deep into turn 1, and that's allowed Elche to get back past on the hard compound tyres. So good news for Haas, up in P7 and 8 at the moment. Carl hanging on to that final points position for Ferrari, but interesting to see Grandad Gamer is ahead of Alex at the moment. Of course, he does have a 3-second penalty, but still, good performance. And Spider-Man, well, he's just chilling at the back doing his own thing at the moment, it would seem.
Yeah, Spider-Man's going for a Sunday drive there. Must have had some sort of a mistake, but not too bothered about where he is. Well, I'm not sure if he knows where he is, but
no, I think that's most days with Spidey, in fairness, but just giggling there with a comment I see from Farrell. A few victory laps for the boys. So he's already celebrating. I guarantee you, I can visualise him at home now with the bottle of champers open. He has the feet up on the table, big cigar, and he's just basking in the glory of knowing that he's the top dog going into next season. And speaking of TPs, the sharp TP himself just checking in. Has a Spider showed up yet? So he's out there, Gary. I'm not sure he's showed up yet. But
no, he hasn't really.
Out there.
He's losing time to Carl on the softs. Is he in the car? Yeah, he's in the car. He's there.
He's struggling for fuel already, so what else is new with Spider-Man? Grandad Gamer and Alex, meanwhile, having quite a battle into turn 2 and 3.
Oh, Rory's running off the track a little bit. Allows Luke right past him. That's going to allow Barty Ford to catch up a good bit as well. So Luke back up into that P5 position behind Hawthorne, who seems to be driving a boat, it seems, today.
Yeah, really struggling. Meanwhile, out front, Maglox has been dropped by Leo, so he will now become vulnerable to Flemo if and only if Flemo can actually stay with him himself. But Flemo right now on the edge of DRS detection, which will be just before the final right-hander. I see a little line here. Bang. And that's your detection point. So he looked to be comfortably inside the 1 second margin, and away he goes. Yeah,
Flemo really giving a name for himself here today. As he did last week, he drove a great race, and this week as well. He's been driving great so far, so maybe he might get picked up by a team principal. If he's keeping up with Maglox, who I can only imagine is going to be someone's first pick for next season. K Flemo could also be a first pick.
Do tell. And you have to remember as well with Flemo wasn't picked up at all pre-season.
Nope.
Flemo wasn't picked amongst the initial 20, so Flemo has a point to prove here. And if he does want to race with VRS next season, which of course we have to clarify with all and any of our drivers, but why fucking wouldn't he want to race in the greatest league in the world? But if he does, this is Flemo putting himself right up there in the shop window for season 2, proving that he is absolutely able to shake it, as you said, with not just anyone, but with Maglox, who potentially at the end of tonight will be our P2 drivers championship finisher.
Yeah, I think he's probably the quickest driver who hasn't gotten a win this season, and he really wants that win. And he said to me, this is my best chance to get a win, and I agreed with him, and I completely forgot Leo was racing. And then he said to me just after qualifying, this lad is going to ruin my chances. So, and
he's not wrong.
he is. Oh, here comes Luke. Actually, through turn 1,
Yeah.
he goes on Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
So braking quite late compared to Hawthorne. A great switch back by Dave.
Hawthorne says, "See you later."
That experience is coming into play by Hawthorne. That's a great move. Luke just a little bit too late on the brakes, I think. And that has allowed Hawthorne right back by into P4.
Yep, good attempt. Just couldn't get it slowed down and positioned on the apex. Hawthorne, as you said, using his experience. Albeit, we talk about experience with Hawthorne. I'm not sure if he actually remembers anything.
I was about to say,
sober, but
yeah.
Who knows?
So,
Who knows?
his experience is
Like
about a couple
he's
of
been
weeks.
reborn.
Yeah.
And at the moment, albeit he's 7 seconds away from the podium positions, he is driving well, Hawthorne. We've seen a new level of solidity to his driving, as Luke definitely would have picked up. You would think.
Yeah, I would have said he has already 4. But apparently the game hasn't given him 4. But yeah, no, keeping up with Hawthorne, and so is Rory Drain, keeping there. Elcha Carbon is slightly catching up with the rest of them, and he will. If they're this close, they're going to be naturally losing time. And then allowing Elcha Carbon just to catch up that little bit more, who is in a, you'd like to say, have a very good position for Haas at the moment.
Yeah, Elcha had a troubled first lap or two, as you said, dropped positions off the start with the harder compound, and had a couple of, we'll say, issues into turn 4, but seems to have gotten now the feel for Hungary. And of course, those hard tyres starting to come alive. The longer this stint goes on, the more he will see the benefit of that harder compound.
So LCK has just gotten the move done on bar to 4. So getting to grips without the line on is LCK, but still a little bit back from Elcha Carbon, who on the hard tyres, those are going to start to warm up now compared to the mediums, and we may see a few people box within a few laps time, and another penalty for Elcha.
Yeah, and LCK gets himself 3. And
or for LCK, I should say.
Oh, nearly has
He's
a Ferrari go into the back of him.
Has he spun there? He lost 2 positions
he
there.
just ran very wide through the long right hander with the death curb on the inside, and then seemed to take his sweet ass time recovering. Was probably afraid of taking someone out. Almost did.
It's coming into the last couple corners now. Luke behind Hawthorne and Rory Drain behind Luke. Can he get the exit he needs? He has 90% ERS, and I'm going to guess Hawthorne does not have that. Correct. 30% for Hawthorne. And that's a spin. That's a spin for the Ferrari, Cav. That is Carl. But here we have Luke now. Will he get it slowed down in time? This time he's braked a lot earlier than he did last time round. Luke through the inside, side by side. Luke and Hawthorne go. A little bit of wheel banging, but it seems like Hawthorne got the better exit. And let's see now, Luke trying it around the outside. Hawthorne giving the squeeze to the outside. And great defending by the Aston Martin there.
Carl in the pits, he's going to put on a set of hards, and he does have front wing damage, so that may explain his lack of pace. Didn't see exactly when he took that damage, but Carl will of course now be going to the end, which he can comfortably do on that compound. So a couple will have their eye on him now just because of the undercut value.
Yeah, but that's so unfortunate for the Ferraris. They really just aren't having a good day today at all, and I can hear the tears of Dan Mullen. I can see them falling from the sky.
Taste them, but we are only coming up to a third race distance, so still a good way to go here. And of course, this is a very punishing track. One mistake and you can end your entire race. So I'd say Rando be wise not to count his chickens just yet. But he is in a good position, and as you said earlier, Elcha in particular, looking like he is in a great position, but still not reeling in the lads in front. It must be.
Once again, Cav, sorry to cut across you. Through turn 1 is Luke. Can he finally get this move done? He's a little bit more further ahead than he was last time, but Hawthorne just gets the better traction. Side by side, once again they go. Luke trying to hang it around the outside this time. He does so. Hawthorne giving them a little squeeze to the outside, and it's just great defending by Hawthorne. Really is brilliant.
It is indeed, but of course, looking at Hawthorne's ERS management, he's now down into single figures. That's going to be tricky for him to manage. Luke sitting on a very meaty 65%, so he will be able to free attack almost Hawthorne the next few laps. If he can get his nose that little bit further ahead going into 1 and have the move done, of course the second help in the DRS will propel him away, so he's not far away, and I'd say next lap, if he gets a good exit, he'll be set up.
Needs to be a little less kind to Hawthorn. I find he's giving him a little bit too much room, and Hawthorn's able to use that, and Hawthorn just isn't giving him any more room than Luke deserves, and Luke is just giving him that little bit too much. So he just needs to be a little bit more mean, shove him a little bit, give him a little shoulder barge, and you'll be fine. Let's see now, as we go around the final corner. Once again, I have a feeling this is going to go on for a very long time. The flashing light of Hawthorn is on. Luke is past before the braking zone into turn 1. Luke is ahead finally into P4. Let's see if he can close any sort of a gap to K Flemo. And Hawthorn now is going to try and defend to Rory Drain, which he did a very good job against Luke.
Yeah, he did indeed. Of course, has left himself vulnerable to Rory as well, with Rory sitting on an 85% battery. So Rory's just been having a smoke, watching all this one unfold, and now will be in a great position to attack if Hawthorn can't stay with Luke. You're probably just seeing what I see, but we can't read that. We can't read that from Gary.
No. Well, we can read that he's been given an additional allowance for diesel. Spider-Man.
He spent it elsewhere.
He spent
we won't
not particularly in a shop, but yeah.
The particular insinuation that he may have spent it on some what we say?
We'll leave it at that.
Extracurricular activities. Non-Alpine approved activities, but however, Hawthorn now staying with Lukey as Flemo dives into the pits. Flemo was only a second behind Maglox here, so going for an undercut, you would think.
Undercut time for the Williams. Yeah, he will, and if he doesn't, he's an idiot. He really will, and I think he will. That experience will come into play, and I think Luke should as well. Hawthorn probably stay out for another 27 laps, knowing him.
He probably will. So Flemo coming out now. Will he have a nice bit of track to attack? He has a Ferrari coming down the main straight, who he might just have enough a gap to clear. He does, and we'll have those tyres warmed up by the time Alex gets close enough to him. Yeah,
so nice clear air by Flemo, nicely timed. 3 or nearly 4 seconds up the road, down the road from Bart 4 and LCK, who are currently having a battle. It's going to be a good undercut from Flemo. Of course, he's going to get those tyres fired up nice and early with the clear air. He's going to be able to gun it. Use a bit of his battery as well, of course, and try and close that gap or even overtake Mags. And speaking of Mags now, coming into the final couple corners, second last corner, 3.2 seconds behind his teammate. Will he go into the pits?
The box.
He doesn't.
The box, or he's going to get undercut, and he doesn't
go into the pits. So staying out is Maglox, and might I say losing a position to K Flemo.
Looks that way at the moment. So Flemo was 26 behind when he came out of the pits, the leader. He's now just under 26 at 25.7. But of course Maglox has since fallen further away from Leo as well, so you have to add that into the differential. So I'd make it very, very close between Maglox and Flemo right now. But of course Flemo's going to have an even quicker lap this time around. As I can see, those tyres are just coming up to the high 90s. And so Rory and Bart 4 both in. Yeah, it's about to say we have a few people into the pits. Rory and Bart 4. Luke and Hawthorn have still stayed out, but again, that battle is not between the battle between K Flemo and Maglox is nothing to do with Luke and Hawthorn. So I don't think they have to box to react to K Flemo, but yeah, I'd be boxing around now anyway. I think 2 of them might go in this lap. I can kind of feel that what's his name, Mark, would be giving him a strategy to come in on lap 15, and I'd imagine they will react to that and come in. Yeah. So K Flemo's gap now to Leo is 24.8. So Leo himself decided to come in this lap. Shouldn't impact on Maglox if Maglox follows him, but Flemo has Maglox at this stage, I would say, and possibly even won't be too far from Leo here. Just to give us a better idea, I'd say he'll still be a second or 2 away. What's killing Flemo right now, though, is he's gotten held up by LCK, and that is going to affect the second half of his sector 3. But LCK into the pits, so Flemo's a free run and got a nice help in the DRS here. So Flemo's gap to Leo is probably going to be down to 2 or 3 seconds here, you would think. So Leo out of the pits, and it is, jeez, 5 seconds. So LCK may have held Flemo up there more than we anticipated, but yeah, It is indeed. It's 4.5, so it's going to be tight with Maglocks, but he certainly didn't get as close to Leo as I expected.
No, but looking now, Leo only 15 seconds behind Maglocks, who of course hasn't pitted yet.
Yeah.
So, and K Flemo, looking at his time, he is only 19 seconds. So Cav, what's a pit stop time around here? Does your favourite track? You should know.
I think it's about 22 in Hungary, if I'm not
Very
mistaken.
good.
21, 22.
So looking at it,
Yeah, depending on how well you hit that purple and how well you hit the entry marker.
Maglocks into
There
the
is
pits.
Maglocks.
All eyes on
Here
K
we go.
Flemo now to get the second place of this race. So coming on to lap 17 will K Flemo, and let's see what happens with Maglocks and the Williams driver. So right behind Ultra Carbon is K Flemo, and he'll get some DRS as well, and he'll be able to overtake him. So
Yeah.
this is going to be good for him. Maglocks on his way out of the pits. K Flemo on his way past
He's gone.
Ultra Carbon,
Done.
and
Checked
through
out.
he goes. Maglocks is a good bit behind K Flemo with Ultra Carbon in between them. So that was a great undercut by Flemo and a good strategy call.
Brilliant strategy call, and of course, Elchip might prove to be the cork in the bottle for Maglocks here.
Oh! Sorry, Cav, to interrupt you, but that was a beautiful switchback by Luke there. Through turn one, Rory Drain trying to stick it through the inside. Luke running him out of room a little bit. Again, through the inside is Luke, and a little bit of contact off the road goes
Drainer
Rory
has to get
Drain.
out of that.
It's a bit of a dangerous one to go side by side, but Luke will stay in front. That was, sorry again, Cav, to cut across you, but that was the most
Not at all.
beautiful switchback I've ever seen.
Maglocks has been released by Elche. Elche not fighting that one outside of the chicane. So 2.3 is the gap, all things considered equal. Maglocks maybe just still bringing those tyres up to temp. I can see its fronts are at 87. So a little bit more to go for those hard compound tyres. But 2.2-ish, it's doable. But of course, Flemo looked quick in that first stint as well. So let's see how they both get on the hard compound as Leo. Just for the crack. Bangs in a fastest lap. That's quicker than
Absolutely
some
flying.
people's quality times. We won't name people, but Grandad here. And Grandad all over the back of Spider-Man at the moment. So here's a
Oh
grudge
my
match.
god.
The mediums of Grandad versus the hards of Spider. Grandad.
Jeez, he's
very
really showing him that he's
aggressive.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wants him to know that he's there.
they say stick yourself in their side mirrors. Grandad taking that literally and putting himself in both, and now having a look at Spidey into the final corner.
So really is pushing. I don't know what Spidey's doing. Spidey is half asleep here. What is going on? Spider,
Just a setup issue.
Grandad.
Very slow Spidey,
Yeah.
but here goes Grandad.
On the
There's no
outside.
coming back from this one.
If Spider-Man gets overtaken, he knows there'll be years of embarrassment. Just about stayed ahead. I don't know what's happening with Spider-Man.
Grandad going for it again. Is he going to send it? He doesn't. He thinks twice. Good. Great snare from Grandad. As Bartafor loses out to LCK, so another reason for concern for Rando. And now what the eyes will be on is Elche Carbon, the only man still to make a stop, of course. What will he do? Will he go mediums from here, or will he try stretch those hards another few laps and go for a final soft stint? Both are available to him.
Yeah, you have to go another 5 laps, I'd say, at least on those hards to be able to get it to the softs. Don't want to be on them too long.
12 out of him if he's decent on his tyres. 101 and 2 is the fronts of Carbon, so he's certainly got the temperatures in an excellent range to keep those hards alive.
So Rory Drain now eventually got past Luke. Not enough room for a switch back there. He did try it, but ended up hopefully not taking any wing damage, but a little shunt into the back of Rory Drain's car. And Rory below 10% now, just on 10% ERS. So can Luke stay with him and be able to use his ERS and be able to get back past him as Hawthorne now? So these three have been fighting for quite a long time. As Rory Drain, how has no one gotten a penalty, a 3-second penalty between these three? I have no idea how they haven't. They've been going off the track all race, but managing to keep it out with the 3 seconds as they've over the nice sausage curve there.
Well, I think the race director notes usually say you leave the track and gain an advantage. There's been a lot of leaving the track, but I'm yet to see anyone that did it in a way that gained an advantage, so maybe that's the reason.
There we go.
Luke,
There we go.
race director, has finally woken up And
Yeah.
there's a 3 for Luke. So now that changes the shape of this trio. Rory knows he just has to stay with Luke, but of course Hawthorne right on the back of this duo. He's also clean at the moment.
So
And
Hawthorne.
Byrne,
Yeah, Luke is
Here
trying
goes
to get
Luke.
back past and Rory Drain here. Through he goes. Into
There
turn
goes
1.
Luke. This trio is giving us great entertainment. Meanwhile, in the battle for 3rd and 2nd, Maglock's just getting close now to that
He's
1
close
second.
right up.
Flemo. Yeah,
Great pace
of
from
course,
Max
has
today.
3 laps better. Deg on his tyres, which will make a difference. Albeit a marginal one.
So Maglock's, yeah, really good pace here through the 3rd or 2nd sectors. Okay, Flemo is kind of getting away from a little bit, but Max has caught up a good amount of time. And if he gets that DRS, it would be a done deal and up into P2 for Maglock. Although he wouldn't have liked to be around 8 seconds behind his teammate at the start of this race, but P2 is still decent for Max, as he's used to at this point.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say, was Leo was kept very honest in the first stint, but, you know, 2 to 3 seconds was the gap. He's now extended that to nearly 8, and is probably at this stage just coasting to a very forced win in VRS. But anything can happen, and in VRS it often does. So let's see, Maglocks did get DRS that time around, so his now closed right onto the back of Flemo and has a very healthy battery, 90% nearly.
So I don't think it's a mystery now. I think Elsa Carbon is going to stay out for softs.
Yeah. Flemo going off the track at the top of turn 4 there, so that'll be a warning. Whatever we do.
Right onto him now,
As
it's
a
Max.
result, is right onto the back of him, yeah.
So with the straight line speed and the DRS assistance, probably some ERS as well, as he has 92%, Mags will be right by Flemo. And
There's a bulging battery. He's going to deploy it all over the back of Flemo here.
Flemo still will pick up a podium. If he keeps it on the track, that podium is done and dusted. So still a very, very impressive race for Flemo, and he's really shown that he has something in him.
Yeah, and that'll mean 15 points to Ryan Curran, which we shouldn't understate the value of either. That seals the deal in terms of his position for next season. But Maglocks gets it done. Easy as that into turn 1, and of course you get the double help in the DRS here. So he will be able to use that to pull away, as Luke and Rory and Hawthorne all now go by Elche, who is coming in for his stop. I'd expect to see softs go on here, but you never know.
Let's see.
Nope, he's
It's
going
the
mediums.
mediums.
So then I'm surprised he's
had a few
taken
drinks.
those hards as far as he did, but he can, of course, still make up good ground. He'll have to fresh his tyres on the track one way or the other, but I definitely would have went another lap, I'd say, and then took the softs out. But he comes out just ahead of Alex, which will be important.
Yeah. Haas versus Ferrari, here we go.
I was just going to say, the first time we've seen it, Dan will be on the blower to Alex, telling him to murder that Carbon.
Of course, Carbon will be a lot quicker, but he does need those tyres to warm up as he's weaving just to try and get those tyres up to temperature. But Alex, yeah, he's pushing a little bit too hard. He's just gone off the track a little bit, and away goes Carbon.
Yep, and Carbon nearly already breaking the 1 second barrier, despite, as you said, those mediums won't have fully come up to temp yet. I can see his rears are still in the mid to high 80s.
Oh, look at this,
But in
Kev.
this lap he will be
Rory
fully
Drain
ready to go.
dropping back a little bit from Luke. So
Now,
1.4 seconds, and then Hawthorne dropping back a little bit to Rory Drain as well. That's a strange one.
yeah. But Hawthorne will be able to attack Rory now without Rory having the defensive
Ooh.
DRS, so it's going to make a difference. As you can see, Hawthorne there is closed up right till, oh god, the 4/10 mark. LCK has had
retires
enough.
in the pits, yeah.
Yeah, so that makes a difference. That promotes both Ferraris into the points.
Yeah, so
Elche would have got him anyways. So that's an interesting
And
turn of events.
what's that little yellow bar on the bottom of Dave's screen there? What's that? He doesn't usually have any of that, does he? ERS.
No, I don't know what
Jesus.
that is. I think that's the Buckfast meter.
Right, okay, drunkenness meter. Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
well, 56% is as good as it gets. And at the moment, Hawthorne just reeling in Rory. He's even closer this lap again. And if he can stay this close, plus considering the significant battery advantage he has, he'll be in a position now to take that P5 from Drainer.
Yeah, indeed. Drainer really dropping back from Luke here, so I don't know. Is there a bit of damage on Rory Drain's car, I wonder? No, maybe a little bit of slight damage, but nothing that we can see here. As Sanko, a Flemo DNF would make Rando survive the drop zone.
Rando's already survived.
Ran,
so just
yeah.
to keep people updated, Rando started the day on 50 with Dan Mullen on 49. So Rando on 50 at the moment will be getting P7 and P8, which of course is going to be worth 10 points in total, I believe. So that'll bring him up to 60. Ryan Curran will have checked out to 78. And Dan Mullen, well, he's only at the moment scoring 2 points with Alex. Carroll has boxed for a fresh set of mediums. So 51 would be Dan's total. So 9 points off of Rando.
Yeah, an unfortunate day for Ferrari, but Haas have really picked it up. Rando has really picked it up with his drivers. He's gotten 2 quite reliable drivers, and it's shown here today. And he's going to survive the drop zone as it's shown now. And Hawthorne has gotten past Rory Drain.
Yeah, and still we see no real pace from Spider-Man. I'm not sure he's in the car.
No, he
Not
must
really
be
sure what's
12
going on.
seconds back from Grand. I don't know what has happened to poor old Spider-Man.
Well, in fairness now, been 12 seconds behind Grandad is no barometer. He's the goated gamer, as we know. But outside of that, the shame for Spidey is, not to score any points at the moment, which is unusual. He usually thrives in coming from the back of the field. But that means that Maglox at the moment will take P2 in the Drivers' Championship, which I'm sure he'll be happy about. And of course, that will mean he was the lead scoring AlphaTauri as well.
Yeah, which we wouldn't have expected, and I don't think Farrell would have expected that either.
Nope, I'm pretty sure Maglox was picked around the 14th pick off the top of my head.
I think it was 14 or 15.
When you consider how far down, maybe even 15th, he has done an exceptional job this season, and to finish P2, very, very impressive.
Yeah,
Rory Drain now behind Hawthorne.
he is indeed 5/10. So Hawthorne dropping back a little bit from Luke, but Rory Drain keeping up with him. And 2 drivers who will be again looking for a seat next season. Whether they'll stay with their current team principals, nobody knows. Maybe Hawthorne has shown lucky nut shot that he can race it. He won't spin in every race. Well, maybe he won't spin in every race, but he's shown a good bit of potential here. Maybe his pace is just a little bit off on this track, but don't blame him. This track is awful, but he's shown he has something. Same with Rory Drain. He's been quite consistent through this season, so 2 of them, I don't think they'll struggle finding the seat. Same with Kay Flemo as well, who definitely struggled to find a seat in this season.
Yeah, despite not being on the grid for most of it, Flemo in P11 in the Drivers' Championship at the moment on 32 points. And Rory Drain, interestingly, 1 place ahead of him in 10th on 39. But of course, Drain are only joining us for the last 5 races in Alpine. So, yeah, there's going to be some drivers, I'd say, who'll become much hotter property next season. Hawthorne's an interesting one, though, because, yes, his last 2-3 races have been much better. But he still hasn't managed, not putting any jinx on today, but to score anything significant. Still less than 12 points to his name. So will someone be looking at Hawthorne as maybe a risk worth taking? Certainly a man on the up at the moment.
Indeed, yeah. He's showing some results now. At the moment, last week he could have, but it's a little bit too late for Hawthorne maybe. Last couple races into season, only a few drivers in it. And maybe if he gets a result here today, if he gets that P5 or even the P4, if he catches up to Lukey Dookie, he could be putting himself in the window as someone who is going to turn up and someone who will hopefully, both mentally and physically turn up.
Yep, Lukey of course has that 3-second penalty at the moment, so that's what Hawthorne's target will be, and just keeping his nose inside it as we speak. If you could drop Rory Drain and have less to worry about behind, that would make a significant difference. But 9/10 as we go through the detection zone means Drainer should get, and does get, DRS again. But as we stand, the bullet will be delivered to Dan Mullen's head at the end of this Grand Prix. And Ferrari will be looking for a new team principal.
Yeah, they will be. There's a few in the queue, but yeah, poor old Dan Mullen will be put down.
You will. Who would have thought it? After 7-8 races of chaos at Haas, they do look to finally have gotten their shit together for the last handful of races.
Yeah,
Ferrari
eventually.
have just consistently kind of chipped in with, 3, 4, 2 points here and there. But Haas had nothing for the first 6, 7 races and then have just exploded. And you'd have to say, in fairness to Rando, signing Bartafor, very steady decision, but also signing Elche for the last few races, a serious recruitment drive there. Elche
Yeah.
has been very impressive since he came into that team.
And of course, was podium last week from Jesus out of nowhere. Elche Carver managed to get himself a podium. Now, was it luck? Yep. But did he get it? Yep. So, got the result that Rando needed. He is now just ahead of his teammate. Of course, Bartafor would have let him go. Good team play by the two Hasses. And 8 and a bit seconds from Rory Drain. And with around 7 laps to go, can he get up there? His tyres will start to die off in a few laps' time, so maybe not, but he will start to catch now a significant amount.
Yeah, Rory deciding at this point in time to just sit in behind Hawthorne. He's building up his energy, and looks like he's going to go for an attack at some point, but he was lifting and coasting there into turn 1. Doesn't have a fuel issues, so purely just looking to save the position for now. Doesn't want to put himself ahead of Hawthorne and leave himself potentially burning, so interesting strategy from Drainer. But of course this means with 5th and 6th, we'll say tripping over each other a little. Lukey Dookie now with 3.7 behind them, so has enough of a gap to hold on to that P4, and a very much needed P4 for McLaren and Sailor Sammy.
Yeah, I just see a comment there from Sanko. So, because Sailor Sammy and Tom Brown, of course, joined late, they are immune from being sacked. So Rando and Dan have been here since the start. They are not immune from being sacked. So that means only 8th place is going to be getting relegated, and it's a battle now between of course Ferrari and Haas. But it's looking like Dan Mullen is going to be getting the sack this season.
Yeah, it certainly does, and of course designed that way because there's no point in Sammy or anyone taking over a job after 8.
Oh, it's a safety car! Oh my lord!
This just got interesting. No, Drainer nearly goes into the back of Hawthorne there. My days, I don't think he realised, but that's going to shake things up, and it should now be for everyone on track a dive for the softs. Of course, those with the time penalties, such as Carl and Lukey, this will hurt them significantly.
Yeah, killer for Lukey. He was looking like he gapped Hawthorne completely there with the time penalty, and now he's not going to get that P4, that's for sure.
Yeah, and just looking down the grid, I mean, everyone pretty much needs to stop. There's nobody in a position where staying out would be an advantage to them. They're not going to gain positions from doing so. Elche might gain a couple, but of course, is it worth being on older tyres for that? I'm not quite sure, particularly as we're going to get probably 4 or 5 laps. So I'd expect to see a full grid of soft tyres here for anyone that has them.
So Leo into the pits, of course. Maglock's given himself a little gap between him and his teammate, but I think he should be fine. Softs for Leo, K Flamo in as well, and Luke will no doubt be into the pits too.
Yep.
So yeah, everybody should be in.
Expect to see everybody. I don't see any advantage with the way the field is spread so heavily in staying out, but you never know. Some people do weird and wonderful things. We see Luke in, we see Hawthorne in. Looks a bit tentative, mind you. We see Rory Drain in, Elche in, Bartafor.
Yeah, Bartafor also in.
No, he's in. And then we wait on Carl to make his way around in the Ferrari. Has had an off day, you'd have to say, today, Carl.
Yeah, for sure. Just hasn't been there where I would have expected him to be on one of his best tracks. Ferrari's home race, of course. Well, Dan Mullen's home race, I should say. But yeah, disappointing day for Carl, and I should say both Ferraris. Really disappointing day.
Yeah, so far no good. But what will be the case here now is that we're going to have 2 Haas ahead of 2 Ferraris, all on equal tyres.
Yep.
And of course, all very close to each other on this restart. So I wonder, will Dan be on the team radio saying, "This is the final fucking chance here. Send it."
Yeah. Looking at these two lads' performances, I don't think any team principals will be too adamant on signing them as their first pick.
Jesus.
And I'm just gonna be real here. As there seems to be no one being real in this fucking world.
Everyone settle down. Josh been real here. As we see Spider-Man get a front wing replacement, was that the issue?
Could have been.
He still has that fuel light on, mind you.
But yeah, Carl and Alex, they have nothing to lose right now. So if they get Dan Mullen into that P8 or P7 spot, he might keep them. So there might be a little bit of do or die here between the two Ferrari drivers. So let's see what happens here. So maybe Alex might let Carl pass. It seems to be quicker today, but let's have a look and see what happens. It's going to be an interesting restart, that's for sure.
Oh, without doubt. And as you said, nothing to lose for the two lads, so they will be going for it. Carl, unfortunately, with that time penalty, is a little bit out of kilter, but he can still get it done. Now, just looking at Spider-Man, doing Spider-Man things, only has 4.8 laps of fuel left. And he's on lap 29 at the moment. He hasn't quite caught up to the field just yet, so Spidey does not have enough fuel to get to the end of this race.
What?
It's streaky bum time.
It is indeed.
4.7 in the tank, and of course for Spidey he has 5 full laps to do when he gets around to the start finish line here. So he shouldn't be an issue. May explain his lack of pace. There could have been a lot of lifting and coasting going on. Certainly he had front wing damage. We've seen that get changed when he went in.
He's just shy cap, I think. I think that's the only thing to say.
Probably fair too. Grandad has gone for mediums.
There's always
one,
one, isn't there?
So there's always one.
There's always one.
Ruins our beautiful wall of red Pirellis. But will we get back going this lap, or will the safety car bring us around for one more to let the field bunch up? Spider-Man will be hoping it goes around once more.
Yeah, it'll go around again. How has he done that?
Grandad, under safety car conditions, has got himself 3.
That's why he's the GOAT. That's exactly why he used the GOAT of VRS.
Fast for his own good.
Exactly.
Tom Brown will be pulling his hair out. That just takes away the best chance Grandad had of getting some points on the board, because he was level with Carl otherwise in terms of penalties, but the safety car is surely going to bring us around again now. No last minute surprises. So with that in mind, Spidey has a little bit of time to save fuel, which he's doing.
Granddaddy will survive, says Sanko. Jesus Christ, lads.
I don't really want him to survive after that, to be honest.
So, yeah, all eyes on the 2 Hasses and 2 Ferraris. Rando now will be shitting himself, hoping that Elcha Carbon and Bart 4 can just stay where they are, just stay, even just take the 2 Ferraris out. As long as they're ahead of the Ferraris, it's all good.
Yeah. So 4 laps including this one, so we should have 3 racing laps basically. Of course, no more safety cars will be deployed from there. But something you mentioned earlier, Josh, about Maglock's been desperate for that first win in VRS. Will he maybe send one? We've seen at the start he wasn't afraid to get racy with Leo, so
yeah.
If there's an incident, could that change the landscape of things up and down the order? Could Kay Flemo maybe capitalise?
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. Maglock, if he can get that restart, he has the straight line speed on him, so this is going to be the most important lap for Maglock, because if he doesn't get him now, he won't get him at all.
Well, there's only going to be 1 lap of DRS.
Yeah, so that's
very,
what
very
I'm thinking. Yeah.
to get that done.
So if you can get him just on the restart, just try. It's very difficult to catch the leader on a restart. You know, you have to react to it just then. There's no reacting to anybody else, a big train of people. So it's going to be so important for Mag. So really, just keep an eye on what Leo's doing. Get into the mind of Leo, and just try. Yeah, Jesus, he'd probably go crazy. But anyway, he needs to get a good restart here if he wants to get his first win, and shouldn't be his first win really.
No. So Leo, what type of tactics will he use on the restart? Already putting the throttle down a bit. Oh yeah, he's gone. Is he?
No.
Oh, he's slowing down again. You need to be careful of this, Leo.
Is
really
he going to go off the restart?
Bolt.
There he goes. We're back underway here in Hungary. Mags has gotten a decent restart, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Will he send one through the inside? Had a look. but he's gonna stay where he is.
Yeah, Flemo staying in position as well. No massive lunges, but there is a Haas round and 2 Ferraris go through. That's
Elche Carbon round. That is huge for Daniel Mullen here.
Granddaddy in the mud.
Granddaddy is in the mud indeed. That's a killer for him.
Yeah, so at the moment, I believe Bartafor, of course, scoring 6 points. And we see Carl is going to drop. That's the problem. So Alex will score 4, but of course Carl will actually still drop right back behind Grandad and Elche as it stands. But let's see how these 3 laps go.
Yeah. So right now, if they were to finish where they were,
he needs to hold up the rest of the field.
Yeah, he does. But I think.
Oh, and that's a Grandad Gamer going very wide. Oh, and then yeah.
Jeez,
out what you will, a little bit of contact with Elche, but Grandad doesn't like Haas apparently.
And he wouldn't be an outlier in the rest of the league by not liking Haas. But Spider-Man, he is finally woken up. Here he is, getting past the Ferrari of I Am Alex. So Alex dropped down into 10th now, and another fastest lap from Leo, of course, on those softs, as Maglock's trying to keep up with him.
Yeah, so Bartafor is the key man here. We watch Bartafor over the next 2 laps. If he can finish ahead of the 2 Ferraris, that's pretty much job done here. Spider-Man, of course, may decide to disrupt this on the last lap. He is looking very quick as he closes in on 7th and 8th, but that time penalty for Carl proving the real kick. Without that time penalty, Carl racing Bartafor straight out, and of course, who knows where that 3 seconds came from? Is there potential for a warning to be removed? The dramatic finish?
Possibly.
Who knows? But right now we treat it as what we see, which is that Carl is going to drop down to 9th, and it'll only be 3 points for Ferrari. Of course, Bartafor, as I said already, getting 6 up there in P7.
So looking now at Luke. Luke is looking mighty quick on these softs, really staying with Flemo, and off the track again. Nearly out of that 1 second range of Hawthorne, lost a little bit of time by going off track, but he is going to lose a boatload of positions here.
Yeah, Carl also struggling to keep it on track. Elche gets himself 3.
Oh, and Alex! Alex has spun round!
Yeah.
And Grandad in the same place.
Grandad is involved as well. That's not good. Rando just mentioned that Grandad should remember where he came from. Well, taking out a Ferrari, if that's what's happened, certainly he'll appreciate it. But it did look like contact between Alex and Grandad. Didn't see any of the instant to comment that whose was on fault, but yeah, that's massive, and that realistically means now that that's Ferrari's goose cooked. And on the last lap, it's Granddaddy who can celebrate with a couple of Barry's finest.
I gave Grandad his first drive, the ungrateful lad. Always remember where he came from, and he did just there by taking out a Ferrari.
Yeah, so he battled Elche hard, but then whatever happened between him and Alex, one way or the other, the contact has led to Alex falling right down, and Alex was Dan's best chance here of heavy scoring. So yeah, unless Bartafor has a huge issue, then it looks like it's all done and dusted for Randaddy. Meanwhile, out front, Flemo has fallen well back from the top 2. Looks to be struggling.
But looking on now to Leo, nearly out of fuel is Mr. Leo Lyon. But coming around the final corner in his debut race in VRS, he has driven superbly, crosses the line and wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. A great race from Leo. Maglock's in P2 and a podium position for K Flemo. And that will drop Luke all the way down into P7. Still a very decent result for Luke there. But unfortunately with that penalty it has dropped him way back. And Hawthorne
the key
P4.
piece there, if just to make it even more certain, Bartafor finishing now P6 ahead of Luke, so even more points in the locker of Randaddy. That's 8 scored, and then Elche bringing home 2 in P9. So that does it. That does it.
Yeah.
Granddaddy X Randaddy says Sanko.
Brilliant. But that is...
there you go, a fitting driver today as well.
Yeah, that's Rando survives and Daniel Mullen is going to die.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll have to bring him out the back of the trailer and bang.
Yeah, nice and
It's a
quick,
shame.
painless, but
no, we'll make it painful. But we see Leo taking his very, very first victory in VRS. And what was interesting there, we didn't realise Leo would have ran out of fuel, I'd say, without that safety car. He certainly would have had to do a serious amount of lifting and coasting. So That might have made things squeaky. He only finished the line, as you said, with I think about 0.2, 0.1 of a
Fuck
lap
all,
of
yeah.
fuel. So yeah, that would have been very tough to claw back late on.
Jesus Christ. I'm not reading out half of these fucking comments.
No, better not. We don't want to know about Rando's head games. Head game, for that matter. Interpret it that what way you will.
So, Cav, after our final race, why don't you bring us down to finish in order?
For the final time in VRS this season, as we close off season 1, we have Lowline in the AlphaTauri. Some things haven't changed, and fastest lap also goes to AlphaTauri, so a full 26 points, along with
27.
obviously the pole position. It is a perfect weekend for the AlphaTauri driver of Lowline on his debut. Maglock's in P2, again the bridesmaid today, but he'll be still happy with a good result that propels him into P2 in the Drivers' Championship, and Flemmo closing out the podium positions in P3, and that will do him no harm as securing a drive for Season 2. Hawthorne with his return to form, that continues as he gets P4, exactly where he started on the grid, as the in the top 4 are. 5th for Rory Drain, the Alpine, again just making slight progress as Rory always tends to do in the races, and we see Barta 4 in the Haas, notably winning out that title for Rando and avoiding the sack. 7th for Lukey Dookie, with that late penalty becoming even more costly due to the safety car. We see Carl in P8, Elche Carbon up in P9, and then Spider-Man somehow, after doing pretty much nothing for the entire race, does get a final point of the season in P10 in the Alpine, of course, for Irish Gary. Alex in 11th, we see Grandad Gamer in 12th, and of course LCK, no line and no points as he finishes last in this race.
And that's it for the racing. What do you think, Cav? Will we have a few of them in?
Suppose you better get Rando in and listen to this
Oh,
go shy for a couple of
Jesus.
minutes, will we?
Yeah.
We obviously have Coda at 8 o'clock though, so we can't let him go on for too long.
No, so we'll leave him for leave him to have a few words. But yeah, we'll have Rando in. I don't know, take your pick, Cav. Invite whoever you want.
Okay, we'll get a couple of mystery guests. See if anyone wants to
Mysteries.
join us.
So
Do you think Squeaky will come in and talk to us? Do you want to talk to your friend Squeaky?
he might come in, yeah. Invite him in. We'll have a chat with him.
We'll invite in Squeaky.
So it is actually confirmed, folks. Grandad Gamer did remember where he came from and took out I Am Alex. Hopefully not on purpose, but Granddaddy doing Randaddy a favour. And yeah. So Maglox actually does want to come in for an interview, Cav, if that's
Yeah,
unless that's something you weren't intending on.
No, I wasn't planning on it. I've heard enough of that fucker this season, but we'll get him in. We'll get him in, we'll have a chat to him. And then let's go in and get hold of Granddaddy once again.
Right. Right, so who do we have in here now?
Myself.
Just
Just me. We'll just give the lads a second. We'll hopefully get a couple more in. We'll hopefully get the podium and Rando would be the ideal. But we'll see. Of course, a lot of lads will be bouncing for the racing Coda, so that's understandable. But there is
It's 40
the low
miles
line.
away.
Has already booted up EA Sports FC 24, so that's the sort of thing you like to see.
I just did my icon pack and got Trezeguet.
Okay. Well,
right.
there's worse crimes in the world. That's not great.
So we have everyone in. Let's start off with P3. For the first time is Mr. Hey Flemmo.
Alright, Mr. Ininator.
How you feel after that one?
Fucking demoralised. Who the fuck are them two out in front?
Yeah, they had the pace today, and they're after showing you up, Flemmo.
Them boys are quick, man. That's tough.
So
But,
that's your first podium, and of course you were struggling to find a second seat at all. Eventually you got one. You got the scraps from Williams. But how did you find that race overall? Was it a difficult one, or did you think you had the podium in the bag pretty much the entire race, which I think you did?
yeah, no, thought I had it in the bag unless something drastically went wrong, whether it was the spin or something like that. But I was kind of keeping with Maglocks, and then he's so consistent, like over 25, 30 laps. Like I could notice, like I'd make a little error and he just wouldn't. And then I don't know, someone needs to check the guy out in front for fucking juicing or something. I don't know. Who is he?
He came in from another league. He's just an outsider.
A speedy blow-in.
No, these people existed.
But
he's quality.
You've had a great race, and a decent season as well, Flemo. So, what are you thinking now in terms of next season? Will you be around, and do you think you'll find yourself a seat easier than this season?
How is it working next year? The same again?
Same again,
yeah.
Yeah, probably not. Seems to be a bit of a popularity contest, doesn't it? Who gets these drives and who doesn't? But
certainly done yourself no harm today. Good result, and obviously that propels you well into the top 10 of the championship as well. So that's
am I in that?
Yeah, you are indeed. 32 points coming into today in P11, so another 15 now on the board will bring you up to P9, and then a couple of lads scoring, so it might end up 10th or something like that. But still a good result, Flemo, today, and a very good drive.
Yeah, well done out front, boys. No stopping that.
Well done, Flemo.
I want to give a shout out to Budge as well.
That's a random shout out.
There's going to be a major, Josh, you wouldn't be aware of this, going to be a major 1v1 Flemo v Budge at some time during the next few weeks. It actually may end up being covered by VRS, because I think the fans want to see full-on camera work for this.
Whoever's offered the biggest deal will be getting the coverage, and just letting Budge know that Hungary will be one of the tracks I choose.
Right.
You're very quick round there, Flemo. Is that one of your best tracks?
I like, my favourite one would be Silverstone, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I do like that, but I honestly thought I was good around there until tonight.
I know. Well, look, good result. Obviously, the two aliens out front said different. And the undercut on Mags, was that something you kind of had planned to go for early on, or did that kind of just happen?
Yeah, do you know what? I was planning on doing it the whole race, and I had a little error on one of the laps right before I was planning on doing it, and he ended up getting out ahead of 2 seconds, and I was only like 7 or 8 tenths behind him when it happened, so that kind of wrecked it a bit, because it was 2 seconds when I got out of the pits. I'd say it could have been 4 if I hadn't made the error on the lap I was coming into the pits, if you get me.
Yeah, gotcha. No, good strategy, and it gave us excitement for a while. Shame he obviously couldn't stay ahead, but he is a very speedy man, as you said yourself. So well done, and hopefully we'll see you on track next season.
No bother, boys. Have a good one.
Well done, Flemo.
Enjoy, Flemo.
So, on to Maglocks. Cav, would you like to have a chat with Mags, or are you going to leave it to me?
Sure, you go ahead. You love talk. We're talking to this fucker every week,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm sure he's always in here.
Permanent spot in this party. Mags, you just can't get that win, can you?
Nah, man. I thought this was going to be the week, but I don't know who the fuck this alien boy was. It says in his name here 09, so I'm hoping if he's a 14-year-old child, like, you know what I mean, there's no excuses. Like,
the boots, Maglocks. The new generation are coming through, mate. You can come into commentary with me and Josh. That's where we've gone. We've ran away from racing.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, fuck me. Nearly double age if he was 14.
But you had a good race today, and you've had a good season overall. A little bit unlucky, apart from being embarrassed by a 14-year-old, which I have been embarrassed by him plenty of times before. But P2, are you happy with it, or did you really wanted that win, Max? Good that you didn't get it.
I wanted the one. You know what I mean? I'll hold my hands up, and as I said, I don't practice again flat out, but I still want to win. Like,
yeah.
But as soon as I seen your man's times going on, I was like, right, it's going to be a bit harder than what I thought. And maybe I probably was only going to get like a 3 and quality anyway. That invalid made up, so I had to go on older tyres and less VRS, but still wouldn't have got pole anyway. Like.
So there was a tiny bit of time left in it, but not enough for pole. But talk to me about your season overall. Are you happy with it? Again, you were very unlucky in most of the races, weren't you?
It was the start of the season, definitely. It was probably the first like 5 races or something. I just couldn't catch a break. It was it's a bit annoying, like, but I knew that if I just kind of just try to stay out of trouble and get my quality a bit better, like I could compete, like. But again, obviously, I know it's the end of the season, but hopefully next season, if I do get a seat and all again, we'll get a full grid in and we'll get proper racing going, like, because I do think I'll be able to compete, like, for race ones and maybe even the title, like, so.
Yeah, definitely. And looking on to next season now. Of course, last season or this season, for the draft, you were picked up late on by Farrell, and of course you're going to be grateful for Farrell now picking you up, as you had a pretty decent season. But looking on now, do you think you'll be someone's first driver? Or do you think you'll stay as a second, which is unlikely?
I don't know, because like obviously when I was watching it, when it was done the way you boys were doing it, I didn't really know how it was being done. But then I was just like, second driver, aye, sweet. Is that what I am? Like, I'm like a Logan Sargent type of driver here.
Maybe not that bad.
But reserve, so you're doing better than most, Magless.
Well, we'll see what happens. See, to be honest, I don't really mind. Like, as long as I have a decent teammate, then again, like, we can probably just go for constructors and stuff again. Because like that AlphaTauri won the constructors.
Yep.
Indeed.
Yep.
And then
comfortably as well.
Where did I finish? Did I finish second overall? Because Jack didn't race the last 2 races.
Absolutely. So you're gone up to 108 now in the championship, and the nearest man to Gak. So yeah, P2 overall, which after the start you had, to only be 50, 60 points off Gak and to be second. I'm sure you would have took that kind of about the halfway point.
I can't complain, hey, you know what I mean? Just go at it again now next season. The game's out now a while. It already feels like it's out about 2 years because they just keep ruining it for every update. Like,
I know, yep. Tell me about
I'm used to it. I'm used to the game now, hopefully. I'm used to the wheel. I've had the wheel now nearly a year, so
okay.
I mean, I'm back up to a decent standard again, like, and hopefully start getting some race ones.
Lovely. So we're hoping to see you again next season, and if we don't, there'll be I don't know what would happen, but we'll see you in a full-time seat, first driver next season, and championship contender 100%. As well. But well done today, and
fingers crossed, eh?
And good luck for the future. So
cheers, man, and congrats on the first season, boys.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mags. Appreciate it, mate.
All right, boys. Cheers, lads. Easy.
Take it easy.
See you later. So, on to our race winner, man on his debut.
Himself.
Mr. Low Lion, or Leo Lion, as I'm sure you misspelled it. I never actually realised it until now, but
every time.
How did you find that today? Bit easy.
I thought it was okay. I mean, didn't really have much competition apart from the first 5 laps. Gapped Mag by about 10 seconds before I pitted. No, was it 10 seconds? No, it wasn't that much. Gee, I'm talking rubbish.
I think it was about 3 or 4 maybe. Yeah.
Then Flem boxed, so I had to pit to cover him off. Undercutted Mag comfortably, and then just kept going from there. Was a bit worried with the late safety car. Threw a bit of a cow much to pigeons, but I knew that if I pitted onto the softs, I could get away, and just comfortable, I say.
Yeah, indeed. Looked to be a bit easy for you out there. You got the full haul. You got a point for pole, point for fastest lap, and of course 25 points for the win. So where that puts you in the stands, probably a lot higher than a lot of people here. But you've definitely shown that you have a lot of pace. You have a fucking the whole package, S-Class license. So looking on to next season now, are you looking for a seat next season in the draft? Here's your chance to advertise yourself.
I mean, absolutely. Hungary is obviously one of my strongest tracks. You could see by the 15.1 I put in quali. I felt that was actually quite crap, but clearly it wasn't.
Showboat now.
I'm quite good, quite good everywhere else. Quite a consistent driver. Quali is, I'd say, my strong suit. I do keep it with the race, but it's all dependent on how I'm driving at the time, whether I'm fully focused, but obviously I try to be as much as I can. Not really a lot more to say, but if you put your trust in me, then I can obviously bring you good results.
Indeed, yeah. So looking on to next season, of course you're gonna be up there for the championship, of course with Gak as well. So let's see who has the better consistency. Of course, Gak maybe isn't the quickest driver here, but has crazy consistency over 12 races. So Leo, you'll definitely be up there in the championship, and yeah, best of luck to you, and well done today.
Thank you. Thanks for the interview. I feel a bit awkward. Never really done one of these before, but oh well.
You've done great.
Cheers.
A natural.
Well done. Absolutely.
Have a good rest of your evening.
You too. Enjoy the race.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Jeez, he was nice.
Yeah, very well spoken, young man. Very well spoken.
He was if that's the general standard of 14-year-olds nowadays, I don't believe it. He must be about 40. I think he's just There's no way.
If Owen Moore is anything to go off,
he is, don't let him open your eye contacts. Fucking David Trezeguet, holy god. But anyways, impressive performance to get the perfect weekend put together. On debut. Yeah, flawless, really. You'd have to say. And
not everybody can
looked
do that.
Comfortable. I'm sure he was driving at a canter for a big part of the second half of that race.
Yeah, and Randaddy has not showed up, has he not? I'm not missing anybody this time. Grandad hasn't snuck into the party or something. I'm not missing anybody.
He hasn't shown up. The good thing is it means everyone will get the rest of their evening back, and we will get to see the US Grand Prix. So there's a positive, I suppose, to that. But yeah, he's gone straight out, I believe, with Elcha Carbon and Bartafor on the piss. So open
Brilliant.
Top bus and around the country they will go, celebrating him surviving by the skin of his teeth.
Jesus, yeah.
You'd have to say.
Could say that again. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up here for today and for the rest of the season. So that has been our season 1. A little bit ropey at times. And of course, you're going to have only a few drivers in at the last couple of races of the season. That happens everywhere. But apart from that, it's a strong season 1. We enjoyed it. And hopefully all the drivers and team principals enjoyed maybe a little bit of a change from what they're usually used to. It's definitely a change from what we're used to, and most of the lads who have joined from League of Ireland, it was definitely hopefully a welcome change, and we'll be going again next season. A few changes maybe to the unpopular races. Yeah, we might change them a little bit. But yeah, looking forward to season 2, and of course that second draft with a lot more drivers in than we had before. There's a bigger choice for the TPs, and yeah, it's going to be an exciting one, Cav.
Yeah, and I just can't wait to see. Think of the likes of Farrell now, who'll have first pick next season. He has 2 children that he probably loves equally. Will he go for Mags? Will he go for Jack? P2 for Mags in the championship makes that a difficult decision. I know Jack's attendance obviously wasn't as good as Mags's was, but then Mags had very unlucky first 4 or 5 races. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see now that the order is set. Who does what, and of course that'll all come in, what do we reckon, about 3 weeks time, give or take?
Yeah, I'd say that. Around 3 weeks. Don't mark it on your calendar or anything, because you never know what would happen, but
we'll be in touch.
We'll let you all know what's going to happen with the new season. Hopefully a few changes to come as well. So
absolutely. Unfortunately, Rando's still with us, but what can we do? So are the rules.
Yeah, and after that, Rando has survived. Dan Mullen has not. So if you don't see him again, this is why. So of course, thank you very much for watching today and watching throughout the season. It has been a joy creating this league and commentating throughout, and of course Cav alongside me as per usual for the past however many months or years now. Looking forward to next season, and we'll see you all again in maybe around 3 weeks time. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you